Week 12 Media, Film, and Culture Discussion Presentation by Isaac Lara, April 10, 2023. What society to me? Society to me means relationships, social beings. Men express their nature by creating and recreating an organization which guides and controls their behavior in myriad ways. Society liberates and limits the activities of men and is a necessary condition of every human being and needs a fulfillment of life. Society is the common home for all which we need from birth to death, and it is important to live life in a very comfortable way with participation, in many societal works termed as social work, for which one should fulfill his duties in order to his responsibilities. What is nature to me? Nature, in the broadest sense, is the physical world or universe. Nature can refer to the phenomena of the physical world and also to life in general. The study of nature is large, if not the only part of science. Nature has its own plan, its own patterns, its own connections. This teaches us to trust a higher universe, that are connections forming which we might not yet see today, and that our place within the whole is becoming and will be revealed over time. What is natural about society and culture? Culture in general is the site Culture in general is the site of two opposing tendencies. One is a way that cultures around the world lay down sets of rules or norms which train and fixed forms of life. The other is a way that cultures produce the endlessly innovative and diverse solutions to problems like nutrition, the connections I can draw between the terms culture and society, and how we conceptualize the relationship between them. In everyday conversation, people rarely distinguish between these terms, but they have slightly different meanings, and the distinction is important important to how we examine culture. If culture refers to the beliefs, artifacts, and ways of life that a social group shares, a society is a group that interacts within a common bounded territory or region. To clarify, a culture represents the beliefs, practices, and martial artifacts of a group, while society represents the social structures, processes, and organization of the people who share those beliefs, practices, and martial effects. Neither society nor culture could exist without the other, but we can separate them analytically. Everyday lifestyles and how it affects class systems. Creating and maintaining the everyday lifestyles provides a sense of routine and, in some cases, something to look forward to. I understand anyone can have these things that come up with and happens. By establishing a sort of regularly, we will ease someday to stresses. Those who enjoy more resources and greater class status live in contexts that enhance their personal power and freedom. Larger and safer living spaces. That means to buy high priced goods and experiences. An education that provides access to influential people, ideas, and venues. These conditions give rise to a self focused approach to life. What type of district or class system did I get brought up in? In my district, textiles are flexible materials made of a network of natural or artificial fibers, and you couldn't live without them. District 8 produces the textiles that impact every moment of our lives: the clothing we wear, the clean water we drink, the sports we play with, our health, and the safety of our cities are possible through innovation of textiles. Textile innovation has shaped the course of Panem and its fabric that surrounds us. Peacekeepers rely on textiles to keep them safe. Peacekeepers' uniforms are made of nano layers applied to natural fibers that selectively block hazardous gases and molecular condiments, but are strong enough to withstand a grenade blast. comparing our class system to the film's class system, and describing why and how they create peace in society. The relevance of the film's class system connecting with modern day society is extremely important and clearly transparent in the book and film. For example, the main themes show the inequality between rich and poor, importance of looks, corrupt government, and watching others suffer as a means of entertainment. Like many people today, watching others fight is a common thing that people take part in. We see sponsors, civilians, and government officials bet on who they believe is going to win. Our culture is much like Panam, with people looking forward to events where extreme violence is broadcasted on TV. The Treaty of Treason is a treaty created by the capital to ensure peace after the districts were defeated during the First Rebellion, as well as implementing laws to keep peace districts. It is detailed that the film was to take place annually to remind the districts that the dark days must never be repeated and the districts must be further divided, thus preventing a new rebellion. The mayor of each district is required to read a treaty during each year's reaping. This is my last slide. The similarities between our society and culture compared to the film, along with conflicts between class systems. The country of Panam is involved with enormous military operations like how the United States is with dozens of countries around the globe. Panam's officials are very quiet, and any bad talk from them will form a rebellion, results in punishment. Much like Sanka Crane, his decision showed that the districts could defy the capital when he allowed Carnus and Peanuts to both live. The main reason for the film is to have one sole victor who emerges from the ruins, much like the capital did after the war. The United States doesn't take defiance too kindly either. We saw with Donald Trump and how he has no filter, not going against President Obama. The defiance is helping Trump soar in the polls, like how Canitas became the furtherhead for resilience in later books and movies. Because of her outspoken nature and like a manner, the film showed that the importance of looks is essential. Everyday folks is backed in district, and ramshackle houses, murder clothes, and low quality food that is sometimes enough. In the Soviet Union, it was a similar situation. In the capital cities like Moscow, it was less saturated. Since it was a seat of political power for the Communist Party, that's where the much luxuries were. Luxury goods were very expensive and hard to find out of the city, if they could be found at all. Big cities like Moscow, where you had the best shops, the best vehicles and clothes, some of the good manufacturers to get out of the countryside, especially if there were particularly industry out there. But the largest concentrations in the capital city, even today, the economy of the capital having the good stuff, or at least the better stuff, while the countryside without remains true. That's all my information. Hope you enjoy.